Well, first and foremost, proud of our crowd. And again, never surprised, but for them to come in with the energy that they had, to have the students out there from this morning on. There were students that started being out there at 7 o'clock this morning, and to have the energy in this building the way that it was, that is a huge, huge plus. And I love it when it's a thing where the fans are really fueling us, but at the same time we're giving them something to be excited about. And our guys played extremely hard. They were very competitive. We got better as the game went along, especially on the defensive end. And we knew we were playing against a really good team. In my mind, an NCAA tournament team, and a team that was going to be desperate to come in here and get a win. And our guys responded to that. And again, I think our week of practice was very strong. It was resourceful. They were resilient. They were getting better. The practices were short, and because of the way they were preparing. And our guys came out and played with a ton of energy. So, big win, and one where a lot of guys did different things. Again, our defense got a lot better as the game went along, and I think that's the whole key. When you can improve defensively against a team that's feeling pretty comfortable the way they're shooting the ball, and you can get better like that, and at the same time, we got better offensively. We missed some shots in the first half that were good looks, and in the second half, we kind of did a better job of taking what the defense gave us, and we made more shots, obviously, because of that. And to me, our guys, they deserved it. I mean, they deserved it, and it was a hard-fought game, and they deserved it because they continued to play the entire way, and they never got their head down when Illinois was hanging right there, when they got a little bit of a lead. We made some adjustments at halftime. Really, what we did is we got back to exactly what the game plan was supposed to be, especially on Myers-Leonard, and our guys responded.
How have you seen Cody come along in the Big Ten, dealing with sort of the physicality of this league? It seems like something he's improved in.
I think he relishes it. I really do. I think it gets him going, and he's a tough young man. I mean, he's mentally tough. He's physically tough. He's getting stronger all the time. But I think the more you come at him, the better it is. And I think anybody, and I think we saw that the other night. Whatever your game plan is, if you want to be physical with him, he's going to respond, and that's a great attribute for a young man. But I'm sure you'd have to ask him, but I'm sure a lot of that comes from the way he was raised and playing with his older brothers the way that he did. And but there is the only thing soft about Cody is he's soft-spoken a little bit too much sometimes, especially on the court. Other than that, he is a tough person.
Tom, you said on the TV broadcast Postgame, this team is better now than they were at 12-0. Why do you say that, and what ways are they better?
Well, I think there's a lot of individual improvement that's going on with this team. I think you can look at different players and you can find certain aspects of it. I think the improvement is they're getting mentally tougher. We went through a little drought where we kind of forgot maybe that edge that you've got to have, especially after we beat Ohio State. And I think anytime you have success like that and you haven't had as much as a group, it's real easy to fall off a little bit. I think we did, but I think we got that back. I think these guys, their work ethics are fantastic. I think guys are adding things to their game. I think we're getting better in the post, especially with post defense. There's no question that our awareness is improving, and I think that's a huge part of defense. We may give up some baskets, but it's not from being out of position. It's not from not being aware of what's going on around us. I think our rebounding is much better, and we're continuing to move the ball. I think our ball movement is much better. I mean, I go back to the Kentucky game, a huge win. We're up 10 with 7.5 minutes to go, and could have easily lost the game because we didn't make sure we were taking what the defense was giving us. Our team's not doing that right now. I mean, and even when we've lost some games in this league, we haven't done that. I think how tough this league is really shows up every night, and how good you have to be each and every day to be successful in it. And I think that's where our guys are a little bit more hardened, and I think that's a big part of the improvement process too.
Your thoughts on the maturity of the team, and when you have a game this physical, nobody lost their head?
I think they're kids. I mean, those things are going to happen from time to time, but I think these guys understand it. I mean, they understand the heat of battle. They go at one another in practice. So I mean, there's times in practice with the scout team, we put on hand pads, like boxing hand pads, And when they're defending, I mean, that's what they're going against. I mean, it's physical because that's what the league is like, and it's for that very reason that you can play through contact. I mean, you have to execute under pressure. Okay, that's one of the greatest forms of toughness you can have, one of the greatest forms of team basketball you can play, but you've got to play through contact to be able to execute under pressure. And that's where I think our guys are improving too. And I would add that to Bob's question. I think our guys are getting a lot better at that.
You guys have had 2 straight games where you kind of kept your foot on the gas late and really been able to blow out some of these games at the end here. How important is that?
I wouldn't call this a blowout, though.
All right,
Yeah.
not necessarily a blowout, but, able to distance yourself late after it's close for most of the second half. How important is that, when you get into the thick of the Big Ten schedule, when a lot of teams are wearing down maybe at this point of the year?
Well, I think again, I'm coming up with things here as I speak. This goes to Bob's question too. We're deeper now than we were when we were 12-0, and we're able to play more guys. I mean, Matt Roth again tonight, who's done some good things all year. His plus-minus was one of the highest on the team, and in a very physical, athletic game. So he's on the court, holding his own defensively, playing team defense, and at the same time, you've got to guard him on the offensive end. I think for us, we're making better decisions. We're not trying to. We're reading time and score. The situation work in practice is paying off. The being in all these different experiences of losing a Nebraska game or a Minnesota game have come back to help them in a lot of ways, I think. And we want to come back down and we want to grind it out. And especially when we get in the bonus. We were in the bonus so early tonight in the second half, there was no reason whatsoever to not try to play through inside. And then the bottom line, everything that I'm talking about doesn't matter if you don't make your free throws, if you don't come down on the other end and guard. And I thought our guys did a good job of that.
I think it's kind of partly playing off what he asked, I guess. Is this sort of the best example you've seen maybe in at least a few weeks, maybe in conference season, of this team having a killer instinct, that ability to kind of keep the team on?
Yeah, but it's been building. It's been building. And I mean, take away the start at Michigan, and our team played really well. So the start was just, it was so poor because we didn't respond to the physicality of it. But I don't know if I would say that. I mean, again, I think they're getting better, but that's something you've got to continue to build on that. I mean, we're not a team that's been through it enough because we've still got so many young guys that are playing crucial minutes at this time of year when the games, like we're right in the thick of it, and then we haven't been there before. So we've got to continue to build on that. And that's where situation work comes in, and that's where we're as hard on them, or I'm as hard on them, however way you want to look at it, when it comes to how you execute under pressure in practice as anything, because so many of these games, look at Illinois, I mean, that had 8 straight games that were 5 points or less, correct? So so the odds of it being a close game are really strong. So I think you just keep working at it, and they have success with it, and they start to make it part of their own process.
Tom, you said you got away from the game plan against Leonard for a while. What was the game plan, and how did you get back?
We could play them again, so I'm going to keep that with us, and we could see them in the conference tournament.
How important was his foul trouble in the 4th foul?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. I mean, but we did a better job when the second half started. And again, Cody did a good job. Christian did a very good job guarding Myers Leonard. And again, I was asked the questions earlier in the week about the matchup. It's never about. It's fun to look at it as an individual matchup between 2 players, but it never is. I mean, it's team defense. And our team defense wasn't good enough on Myers Leonard in the first half, and it was much better in the second half.
I think it's 79 free throws attempted in the last 2 games. That's something that just kind of feeds itself with this team.
Well, it's awareness of how important it is. They're absorbing it, and it's an amazing number. When we last week going into Purdue, it was 25 attempts. We're undefeated, 13 attempts, we hadn't won. Those are the numbers. We were averaging 25 in the wins. Then it went up to 26. Now it'll be up to 27, 28, whatever the number will be in league play after getting the free throws tonight. We have to get fouled. We've got very good free throw shooters. We have to have an inside attack. We have to have not only the post-up attack, but the drive and kick attack, the drive and drop-off attack, the break attack, the offensive rebounds. All those things give you an opportunity to get fouled. The one place we're not getting fouled as much, where we got to improve, is on our cuts. So that means we've got to pick up the speed of our cuts even more, and hopefully that would add to us getting to the foul line. But it's crucial. When we're physical, when we're aggressive, when we're attacking, we're going to get to the foul line. And when we're not, and this is not a team that can just sit outside and play on the perimeter and utilize the skills of the players as much as possible.
though you're going nonstop since Big Ten started, how pleased are you to have a little bit of a break, or would you want to keep going with your mindset?
That's why we scheduled the North Carolina Central game in 2 weeks. I've never seen the bye weeks coming like that. That would have not been good for us to have the bye weeks be this way, this close together. Because if you're on a roll, you want to keep playing, and if you're not on a roll, you want to keep playing. The one thing you don't want to do is they all become creatures of habit. There's regimen. We change practices up, and we have different practice times because of classes. This was a week we probably had an hour tops each day where we had the entire team there because we have older guys now that have classes that can only meet at a certain time, and we have some grad classes. So we never really had everybody together this week. Well, when you continue to play, you don't lose much of that. When it's kind of spread out, it's real easy to lose focus. And our guys have got to stay focused. Now, with that being said, our practices are shorter. We're game plan oriented, but we're also very fundamentally driven inside of these practices to make sure that they do keep improving. And so we'll be able to work a little bit on that. But I'm like the players. I'd rather have the games to get to this time of year. And the practices are great. We'll make it work. We're not taking them off. But I'd rather have the games.